Hi guys. Okay, excuse my appearance right now. I'm just getting not just getting up. I've been up for a couple hours, but I work nights, so it's very rough putting pep in your step after waking up, because I only sleep for a few hours, so I always kind of feel like boo-boo. But anyway, today I am going to be talking about my budgeting system that I use. I said that, I believe I said last video that that's what I would talk about for the second video. So I have this trusty guy here. It's my wallet. This is the wallet I bought for this thing. I don't carry purses and things like that. I usually just grab my cards, and I don't like carrying purses, so I put them in my wallet, and then in my pocket or whatever, but I'm trying to be more diligent. So, but in here I have my bank card, and you can see I have 2 credit cards in my bank card. I don't physically use anything but 1 credit card, and I'll tell you how I use that. But let me tell you about the system. So we've got, this is what is inside the wallet. Checkbook. I could take notes and things here. My little pen. And here are my envelopes. The envelopes that I physically use, and I still tweak it because some stuff I'm not even sure if I want to leave it physical or not. But this is what they look like. Okay. The date that you put money in or take out, you just record it here. Just like balancing a checkbook, except you actually physically have cash in these. So the slots are big so the cash can fit in, and cash does fit in quite nicely. So which ones do I have? I have my entertainment recreation. This is the date from my check. I put $40 in this envelope. Now this envelope I use for things like if we want to go to the movies, or just if I want to take the kids out, if I want to go out or something like that. Well, here's my cash for that. So this envelope is my hair envelope. The stuff that I purchase whenever I get my hair braided or twisted, that's where I save for that newly, because I just started that this month. Be saving to get that done with that. Then I have the section for birthday parties, and this is for obviously birthday parties, but not just other people. Like when you want to give gifts, you want to give cash gifts, or when I'm putting my kids' birthday parties together and I want to pay for it, I put money in this envelope, and then when the time comes for a birthday party or anything, that I have the money for it, and I don't have to worry about spending money that's in the bank, because I've already saved for that. So you get the gist. Clothes for my kids, of course, not myself. I put money in here, and obviously I just bought him a shirt for graduation. Took the money out of here, and voila. Actually, I got $80 in there because I put another $1 in there. But you get the gist. So this is how the envelopes work. I just have this category for groceries. I leave the groceries as a digital envelope. I don't take the cash for that. And then this is my empty, eaten out envelope. There's no money in here. I spent this money when Lobster Fest came around, and I've actually gone way over budget, but I'm just starting to crack down on it. I haven't been eating out as much, but I still got some tweaking to do. So that's how the physical envelopes. There are also, there's a place right here for cash, if you just have cash. And then there are loose envelopes that can fit back here. I have the loose envelopes in another place. Those are for I probably should have like the clothes and stuff in a loose envelope too, so I'll probably transfer that to a loose envelope. And the loose envelopes are envelopes that I'm not going to have in my wallet, because I keep my wallet with me and I'm not going to be walking around with a bunch of money. Stuff like eating out, I can keep that envelope on me, but I may take the clothes envelope and transfer it to a loose envelope. I have a loose envelope titled Christmas stuff, but I believe that I'm going to go ahead and leave Christmas envelope digital. I'm going to make it digital. So I'm going to transfer the money that I have that into my bank account and put it, have it stored, because I do use my card and I do a lot of shopping and stuff online, and it's just a little bit more inconvenient to have cash for that. So that's what factored into the decision for me to transfer that to Christmas, to a digital envelope. Okay, so that is how I use the physical envelope system. The other part of this budgeting thing, and let me go to the website. Okay, it's envelopes. This is the site. This is my digital envelope. This is where I budget at, okay? So there, you want to check it out? It's envelopes.com. So the way that this is set up is I have my accounts all linked to envelopes. So every time I purchase something, it knows. Every time I put money in the bank, it knows. Anytime there's a transfer of money via credit card, cash, anything, it's recorded here. Okay. So let's go and look at this. So one of the first things that I had to do, and this is, I'm going into the second month, March was my first month. And so April will be my second month. I have set up my budget for that. But the thing, what it is that you do with that when you're setting up your budget is, the first thing that I did was I took my income, estimated income, because my hours are not static. If you have static hours, it's a lot easier to just, you know exactly what you're getting paid every 2 weeks, blah, 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 blah. For me, I write my own schedule for the most part, and I don't work the same amount of hours all the time, so I don't make the same thing every 2 weeks. Some weeks I make more, some weeks I make less. So it's a little bit different for me, but I estimate what I think is gonna be, and I make my budget based off of that. So that's the first part, is your income. I did do a assessment, basically a what you're worth, a financial statement or something like that. And basically on the financial statement, you take all of your debts, everything, even things that you owe people. You take all of your debts, all of your assets, all the money you have in the bank, just everything you own, and then you basically write the numbers for all that stuff down. Then you subtract your debts from what you own, and then that's what you kind of get what you're worth, type of a financially thing. So I've done that. Let's see. I did that first. Just good information to have. Okay. All right. I had the income in. Okay. So then I move on to my budget. Now I've already said that you have a set amount that you want to give yourself, or you want to estimate that you're going to have for the month. Now this is what the budget thing looks like. I'll just show you real quick. It's got the categories and everything. I have my budget set here for what I think that I may make in a month. Now, like I said, I may make more. To be honest, that's where I set my budget at. I do bring in more than that, but just in case I have a month that's off where I don't actually make the minimum that I have set here, at least I've budgeted for that amount. So let's say, for instance, I set my budget at $3,000. Well, say I bring in $3,600 or $4,000 every month, but 1 week, instead of bringing in a $2,000 check, $3,000 check, $8,000 check, whatever, say I only bring in $1,000, or I only bring in $1,500 one check. So that's going to decrease me less than what I normally make. But if I'm budgeting slightly below what I make, then I'm okay, because everything that I have, everything that I need for the month is factored into the smaller amount. So it doesn't matter if you make more than what you set your budget at. You need to budget for where you can live, for what you can live off of. And you still budget every cent that you get. So initially, since I'm working on April, I have budgeted all of my expenses for April. Now you have your expenses, basically like your bills, and then you have your expenses that, the bills are time sensitive. You got a deadline, a date for those bills. And then you have your other bills, which are more flexible, like grocery shopping and things that you don't have a time limit. They're not time sensitive, but they're still bills that you have every month. It's just you pretty much determine when you need to pay them. So basically, within your budget, you allocate the amount of money that you need to allocate for each category, each thing. Eating out, your credit card, your mortgage, all of your gas, electric, internet, health insurance, all that stuff is budgeted. Basically an envelope, but it's budgeted for all that stuff. So after you budget, you want your budget to zero. Okay, you want all of your money, and savings is a part of that. And if you tithing is a part of it. All that stuff should factor into whatever it is that you set your budget to be for the year, or not the year, for the month. So say it's $3,000. After I add up all my bills and then all of my living expenses, I want them to equal $3,000. That means that my money that I'm going to get for April, I know exactly where it's going. There are no surprises, and I'm going to stick to what I've set out money to spend money on for this month. And then that way there's no surprise. There's no using my credit cards and getting into debt that I can't pay right now. Okay. So that is that part. After you set up your budget, then you want to fund your plan. So when you go to the funding thing on this app, and whether you use this app or not, you still have to fund it. You still have to make sure that, okay, now this is the way I've budgeted, because the budget isn't always going to go exactly as planned, but that's okay. There's some room to wiggle around in there. There's some flexibility. Hold on, guys. There's some flexibility. So then when you set your funding plan, you're going to actually put money in those envelopes digitally. So on this app, I can go on there, and when I get my paycheck, it goes in there, it shows up. They call that the income pool. So I got my income pool with my money in it, and it has set up, it knows when you're going to get paid and how much you're supposed to get paid. So you can go down the line and say how much money you want to fund each one of those envelopes. And then you put, say I have $50 for personal use. Well, I'll fund that envelope $50. That means that I have put $50 in that envelope. And basically you do that for everything. Your bill money, fund the envelopes for those bills, because that's something that you have to pay. And you're looking at where your money is going. So I'm going to digitally fund from my income cash pool those envelopes. After you funded everything, you kind of want it to balance out like everything else. You don't want any money just sitting there hanging out so that you can spend it. And this is how I've discovered that I can save more money than I actually wasn't saving anything. And I discovered that I can save, because when I did this, I saw that, wow, you have money left over that can either be going toward paying off the credit card debts or savings, putting into a savings account. So that's what I've been doing. That's what I've done. Actually, it's this first month. So that's what I've done this month. And I would not have known that if I had not set this budget thing up like that. So anyway, that's how I do my envelopes and stuff. That's funded. So the next thing is transactions. Whenever I use my credit card, because remember all my accounts are linked to this. Whenever I use my credit card, my debit card, take money out of the bank, anything, that's a transaction. It pops up here for me. And what I can do is when a transaction pops up, like, okay, I'll show you this, guys. This is my student loan payment, and this is one of my credit card payments, right? So this is a transaction. I need to put this in an envelope. So it's a credit card payment. So I can, I funded this, okay? I have envelopes over here. So where's my envelope for my credit card? It's over here. So what you want to do is, my computer's not a touch screen. I feel like I'm trying to touch screen it. All right, so let's go down to, let's say the student loan. Let's do the student loan one. Where is the student loan one? As soon as I find it, guys, I can, here it is. See? Bill, student loan, right here. I funded, I put $300 in that envelope when I set my budget out. When I was doing my budget for March, I put $300 in that envelope, and that's the balance that you see here, the $300. Well, the payment has come out. It's right here. So I can either drag or use this drop down to put this transaction in this envelope. I'm going to drag it and watch the balance. See? It gives me a summary of how much, I didn't know it did this, guys. I did not know that. It says how much went to principal, how much I paid the interest, $300. That's how much I had in there. The transaction amount was $300. So I have a zero balance now. So I'm going to save that. Bam. See? So now that envelope is empty. I paid that bill off. And so next month for April, when I get paid when I get my check, I'll refund those envelopes. And this is how you find the envelopes, and you stick like that. Everything you purchase, I made a purchase at Target. I'm going to put that in the personal stuff because I bought some things for my teeth because I needed oral gel and something else. That's personal use. So I will drag that and drop it into the personal envelope. This is my kids' allowance. I'll drop that into their allowance envelope. And then this is another payment for my other card, which is another $250 envelope that I got set up here. So I can either drop down to take care of that, or I can take it and I can drag it. Doop. That's paid. So now I have no more money in that envelope. That's paid for this month. But if I go through and get towards the end, all my stuff, when all my bills and everything are paid for, or after I'm done allocating and filling those envelopes, if I find that I have some money left over, which usually you do, now I can decide, hey, I can put some more money, more than I budgeted, towards credit card debt, or I can put it in savings. Or if I want to put it in one of the other envelopes, you can, but the other envelopes really are just spending. So I want to put more money into my savings or whatever. So anyway, guys, this video is long just because of all the direction that I'm trying to give. One thing before I go that I did not mention is your emergency fund. That's one of the most important things. It's actually the first thing that you do when you start budgeting is you want to get $1,000 put away immediately for emergencies. And that's the start of your emergency fund. You want to do that right away, so that if something happens, you have cash already on hand to take care of it, and you don't have to swipe your credit cards for it. You don't have to borrow money, blah, 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 blah. So that's what that's for. Then you start to pay down, you start budgeting, and then you start attacking your credit card debts, and then start working on trying to get that emergency fund up to first goal 1 month's income. So that's the step that I'm at right now. I've got my emergency fund put away. The first 1,000, that's done. But now I'm working on getting it up to 3 months. I mean, not 3 months. 3 months is the next step, 90 days. I am working on getting it up to 1 month's income and paying down my credit card debt. So what I'm doing is that 5%, 10% that I was talking about last video, that's where that's going, to fund my 1 month's living expenses. Once that's fully funded, And of course, 1 month's living expenses is basically how much you get paid for 1 month. However many checks you get in a month. That's 1 month's living expenses. You want to have that put away because the premise is you want to live off of last month's income. You're not trying to live off of future income or waiting for that check to come to fund it. You want to live off of income that you've already had, basically. So anyway, and then if something really happens, if you lose your job, but that's only a month, but your plan is to get 3 to 6 months income. If you were able to save up 3 to 6 months, you lose your job or something, you know that based off of your budget, you can survive 6 months without having a job, without having to worry about anything, because everything will be taken care of. Why? Because you've put that money away to be able to take care of those things if that happens or whatever, God forbid anything like that happens. But that's the whole point of having it, because if something does happen, you're not overwhelmed and all of a sudden thrown into a situation where you had income and now you have no income, and on top of having no income, now you have no savings, you have nothing to sustain yourself until you can get into a better position, or if you get sick or anything like that. So it's very important to start that emergency fund. So I'm working on my 30-day emergency fund. With extra money, I will start to fund that. Okay, I'll start to fund that, and I need to get that up to 1 month's expense. After you get it up to 1 month, you leave it. You leave that until you get your credit card debts paid off. After you get your credit card debts paid off, then you move on to the next step, which I'm not going to talk about the next step yet because I'm not even at the next step. You'll get to the next step when I get to the next step. So, all right, guys, I'm going to finish dealing with my budget stuff. Put any questions down below, and I'll see you guys next week. I'm going to try to designate Mondays for these videos. So I'll see you on next Monday. Bye.